What's going on today, guys? My name is Overload, and today I'm going to be teaching you everything you need to know about buying video games for your collection and even starting your collection. A lot of these tips will range from pretty basic to actually pretty advanced. This guide will be very broad and it will cover many different outlets and where to buy for your collection, and it'll give a lot of tips on how to get the best deals for buying for your collection. This is something I've been wanting to make for a while now, so I really hope you guys enjoy it. I will have the table of contents listed here, so you can skip to any section you feel like you could improve on or would like to listen to again, or if you have one specific section you want to check out, then feel free to just click and skip there. I will also have timestamps in the description as well, so feel free to check those out. But with that out of the way, let's get into it. Now, before we go over anything else, it is vital we get the basics out of the way. Without the basics, you will not have a foundation for adding for your collection, or even beginning your collection. In almost everything you do, it is ideal that you have a basic foundation, whether it be video game collecting, sports, mixed martial arts, painting, anything you do, you need a foundation. And without this foundation, your structure, in this example, your collection, will crumble. So first off, you want to buy for your collection, not my collection, not your friend's collection, but your collection. And what do I mean by buying for your collection? That means buy what you want. Don't buy what your friends are buying. Don't buy what is trending. Don't buy what some other guy's buying on YouTube. Buy what you want to buy. If you want to collect for the Xbox 360, go right ahead and collect for the Xbox 360. There is nothing wrong with that. If you want to collect only Nintendo, then by all means, collect only Nintendo. If you want only Sega, then collect only Sega. If you want Nintendo and Sony, then collect Nintendo and Sony. This is your collection. Do not let it be someone else's collection, and don't let other people tell you what to collect for your collection. Now, I'm saying people can give you great advice and even recommend you games. That's fantastic. But if they're telling you you have to have this game, or they're not going to be your friend, or you're not a true collector, don't believe them. This is your collection. You make it about you. Maybe you want to buy a bunch of crappy cheap games because they're funny and you like the glitches. That's a-okay. Maybe you only want Mario because Mario is your favorite video game character. That's also okay. Like I said, I can't stress this enough. Buy for your collection. Don't buy because someone told you to buy. If you want to be financially smart about buying for your collection, I really recommend that you set a budget. Now, what's this budget? I don't know. That's up to you. But you can allocate $100 a month, $100 a week, $100 a day. It's your budget. Just make sure that you have your priorities straight. By priorities straight, I mean make sure you're keeping yourself and your family fed, you're paying your bills and your mortgage. You know, I don't want to see people on here going out and spending $300, $400, $500 a month on video games, and then they're eating ramen the rest of the month. You don't want that. So it is very imperative that you set a budget for your video game collection. You know, let's say you make $2,000 a month. And let's say your total bills come up to $1,000, so that gives you an extra $1,000 to do with what you want. You could spend that on games, you could invest that in the stock market, or with a mutual group. You could shove it in your bank account and save it for later. You can do what you want with that $1,000. It's up to you how you allocate those funds. But if you are on a tight budget, I highly recommend that you do make a budget for buying games. Even if it's just $50 a month, then, set that to the side and try to figure out what you want and try to find the best deals to get out of that $50 a month. And even myself can improve on this. I definitely need to focus on more of a budget because sometimes I do get a little spend happy. And it will happen, I'm sure. So it doesn't hurt to even put a little extra money to the side, just in case that big game does come out. For example, let's say you have $100 you can spend a week on video games. But you didn't really have many games to buy for that week or anything, or you didn't have anything to buy. So what you could do, you could throw that $100 in like a safe or just to the side, and then next week you have $200. And if you had another week where you didn't have any good buys. Now you have $300 when that big game does show up. Because sometimes that really big game, that's like a $300-400 video game, will show up for like $200. And it sucks to break your budget, which I recommend that you do not break your budget. But it might happen. So definitely allocate some extra funds to the side just in case something like that does happen. So I will reiterate it one last time. Please set up a budget because it will help you out financially with your collection. We've all seen it. There's a big new release for an old franchise. Let's take example Animal Crossing New Horizons. And you go, wow, I remember that game. I think I might want to go play one of the older ones. Well, the original Animal Crossing almost doubled in price because of New Horizons. And is this a permanent increase? I have no idea. At the time of this recording, it is still very high. It was about $40 to $50, but then when New Horizons came out, it jumped to about $90. So it is very imperative that you know what is trending and what is not in the collection scene. Anything that is trendy or trending is going to be up in value, whether it's an old franchise or new franchise. If a new Zelda game is coming out, you can bet that older Zelda games are going to go up in price. If a new Kirby game comes out, old Kirby games are going to go up in price. It happens with every single franchise. So it is very important that you know what is trending and what is not trending. I've seen it with the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I saw it with Spyro Reignited, and I'm currently seeing it with Animal Crossing. So it is very important that you do keep up with everything. Keep up with the modern stuff because this will affect the old stuff. Your retro games value will fluctuate, especially in accordance with what's trending on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or just in the gaming market. So it is very, very important that you follow gaming outlets, news outlets, YouTube channels, anything, any company that's going to release a major title in a long-running old franchise, because that will affect the prices of their old games. So do yourself a favor and you don't have to keep up with it much, but just keep up with what's trending. It's dangerous to go alone, so why not make some friends on the journey? No, I'm serious. Make some friends on this journey. They could be great assets to you, and you can make long-lasting friendships that could last the rest of your life. I've actually made a few friends since I started collecting video games, and there's some great friends. I really like them, and on top of that, we definitely help each other out. And that's another reason you should make friends in this field. You know, you might have a friend who lives a couple hours away from you, and you get on Facebook and you see someone where they live is selling something that you want, and they may personally not care about it. So you could always ask them to pick it up for you, and then you can pay them back and maybe even give them a little something for it just because. And vice versa, if you see something in your area and your friend gets a hold of you and says, hey, I really want that, could you try to get that for me? Then of course, do the same for them, help them out. You guys are friends, help each other out. It does not always have to be a competitive market. You can make friends in this and give each other great deals and prices. I've gotten some great deals on a lot of things, and then I've given them to my friends for at cost. You know, the only thing it cost me was time. You know, let's say I got a Game Boy Advance for $20. I'd sell it to my friend who needed or wanted a Game Boy Advance for $20. The only thing I was out was the trip there, and just help them out a bit. I didn't need it, so there's a great example. And on top of that, what's the point in making this nice collection if you're not going to share it with anyone or show it off to anyone or just have people to talk about with it? I mean, it's cool and all that you have this nice collection, but without anyone to share it with, to me, it would feel kind of empty. So it's definitely worth having friends when you go to collecting video games. And for the last basic tip I can tell you guys, have fun with it. If you're not having fun with it, why are you collecting video games? Is it a investment? Is it just some kind of complex? If you're not having fun with it, don't do it. That's the last thing I can tell you in the basic section. Why do I make these YouTube videos? I enjoy doing it. It's fun. I like doing it. It gives me something to do, and I like creating these videos. I'm not getting anything out of this. I'm not making any money. I'm not making any ad revenue. I'm just doing this because I feel like it, and I actually enjoy doing this. I have fun, and it gives me more chances to become a better video maker and an editor. So I like it. It's fun. It's enjoyable. If you're not having fun with collecting video games, why are you doing it? There's no point in going out to buy a $50 video game for $20 if you hate it, if you hate the trip, if you don't get excited over it. There's no point in it. So have fun with it, guys. It's a hobby. It's not a lifestyle. Okay, I guess for some it's a lifestyle. But just have fun with it, guys. It's video games. They're supposed to be fun, not work. Who all here has played Persona? If you have, give yourself a pat on the back, 'cause that's a great game. But I'm also going to be making a reference to it here, with the skill section. So, if you've played Persona 5, I assumed you've done the social skills. You know, the skills for like your guts, your proficiency, how you level those up, and you get better at those in your day-to-day life. Well, there are skills you need for buying video games for your collection. Now, they're not the same skills from Persona, but think of it like that. The better you get at these skills, and the more you do them, the better buyer you're going to be. And you will need a lot of these skills if you want to build a really nice collection. So in this section, I really want to go over some of the skills that you should really try to max out if you want to become a better buyer and further your collection. This is probably the biggest skill you need in collecting video games. You are going to need patience if you want to get the best deals. You know, anyone can go on eBay right now and buy basically any video game they want right now. That's it. There's nothing special to it. You go to eBay, you find one you want, you look at the picture, say, yep, I want that one. Hit buy it now, you're done. That's great and all, but this video is more about getting the really good deals, not just buying for your collection. So when I say patience is a virtue for collecting video games, I really mean it. You're going to have to wait. And sometimes you will wait a very long time for that one game you want if you want to get it for a good price. But that's entirely up to you if you want to wait for it or not. Me personally, I will wait months for a fantastic deal. It's just who I am. It's how I do it. I don't like making purchases if they're not that good, to be honest. Sure, I can go to eBay right this instant. In fact, I will, right here, and I'll show you. I can buy any copy of Rule of Rose I want right now for a ridiculous price. So just look at the price starting price. A complete in-box copy of Rule of Rose is $370 at the time of this recording. Every single one of those I just showed you on eBay, in fact, I'll show you again, is bare minimum $30 over price. Now, I'm sorry, that is not a good deal in my opinion. That's a horrible deal. Yes, I know price charting is not the end-all be-all, but it is a pretty nice guideline you can go by. So again, patience is a virtue. You have to wait and see what's coming, and you gotta wait for those good deals if you want to get. I've been wanting to get a decent copy of Kirby 64 for months now. Do I have one yet? No. But will I get one? Eventually. I'm going to keep waiting, and I will eventually get one for a good price. Yes, I will get a copy of Kirby 64, but I don't need it, or do I really want it like really bad at this time? So I am going to be patient, and I'm going to wait and try to get one for $10, $15 off. Will it happen? I don't know. I can't tell you. It might happen tomorrow. It might happen 6 months from now. I know eventually the good deals, they do come. You just have to wait for them. If you don't have knowledge of the market, you're going to be at a huge disadvantage. When you're buying online, it's not that big of a deal if you don't know stuff. You can just look it up, no problem. But if you're out at yard sales or flea markets, you need to know at least some stuff off the top of your head, or at least have a pretty good idea of what some stuff is worth. Now, am I saying you need to know everything? Of course not. No one can learn every single price of every single video game out there. There's no way. But it doesn't hurt to learn a lot of the big ones, or a lot of the popular ones that people most likely will have at their yard sales or flea markets. Items people are going to tend to have are Xboxes, 360s, and Nintendo Wiis. Those were big consoles back in the mid-2000s, and a lot of people want to get rid of those. So it's good to know in your mind about what a Wii goes for and some of the games that go with it, and about what a 360 would go for and some of the games that go with it. You're not always going to be able to just whip out your phone really quick at a yard sale and just look something up. Sometimes you can, but there's going to be times you won't be able to. The person's going to be over your shoulder watching you. I don't like those people at yard sales, but they do it. They're going to talk to you nonstop, and you're not going to have a time to whip your phone out and look up the price of these games. So having a basic knowledge of the market will be at your advantage, and it will help you tremendously. If you're not good at negotiating, you're not going to get good deals. It's plain and simple like that. It's going to require a lot of charm and a lot of tact to your words. If you find you can't really negotiate with people that much, you might want to learn how to. Look up some videos, read some books, read some articles online. Negotiations is vital to getting good deals in the gaming market. It's going to take a decent amount of charm. You don't want to be someone that just shows up at a yard sale and they don't even want there and they don't want to talk to you. You want to be someone that shows up and they look like a friendly, happy person and you're open with them and you want to talk to them. And on top of that, you're going to want tact. You're going to have to choose your words wisely, and sometimes people aren't the friendliest. And it'll be up to you to either defuse the situation or be able to negotiate those good deals. You know, if you just walk up to someone and, you know, let's say they have a $50 game and they have it for $70, you're not just going to walk up to them like, I'll give you $20. That's not going to work. You know, you could walk up to them, let's say you're at a yard sale and you walk up to them and you're like, wow, I've been looking for this game for a long time. I can't believe you have this. You know, you can get a conversation rolling with them, talk about it, and then maybe you can talk them down a bit, you know, say, you know, I know this, I hate to say this, but I think it's only worth about $50. Would you do 50 or something, or 40? You know, that's up to you. I can't tell you what kind of situation you're going to get yourself into or what kind of negotiations you're going to have, but it's very vital that you become good at negotiating prices with people. Be friendly with them, be open with them, and for the most part, be honest with them. If you're not open, friendly, honest with them, then they're probably not going to want to deal with you, and they're not going to give you a good price on stuff. Now, not everyone's going to be open to negotiating. Some people are really sticklers about that, and sometimes they'll say, nope, that's the price. You either buy it or get out, and in that case, you're best not to push them. Just get out. So, not all negotiations are going to go the greatest, but the better you are at negotiating, the better prices you will get as a collector. And to follow up with what we just went about, you're going to need people skills. You're going to have to be friendly with them. You're going to have to be able to talk to them. Not everyone's going to want to talk to you. Not everyone's going to be open to a conversation, but there's a lot of people out there who want to gab the day away. You're going to have to be friendly. You're going to have good people skills. If you don't have those, they're not going to want to sell you games at a good price or just anything at a good price. I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to just not sell something to someone just because they were in a bitter mood. I mean, if they gave me money, I'd still sell it. But if they were to like talk me down, I'm not going to give it to them if they're, you know, not nice of a person. And I think it goes both ways. If, you know, you're nice to someone and you're very polite, friendly, and have great people skills, they'll probably be more open to giving you a lower price on stuff. You know, let's say they have something there that's $20 and you want to try to get it for $15. If you talk them up, get to know them a little bit, talk to them a little bit, and then you say, you know, would you do 15 for this? They're more likely to say yes. It's been proven in many studies. You can go look that up yourself. I'm not putting any stain here. But people are more likely to be friendly and helpful to other people who are friendly and helpful. So do yourself some favors and get some people skills. It will definitely help you. And you might make some friends along the way. Who knows? And lastly, you're going to want to be able to profile people. I can't tell you how many times it has helped me just being able to profile someone. Now, I'm not saying you have to get all state trooper, cops and robber, CSI, NCIS on this and just instantly profile someone as soon as you see them. But we live in the year 2020. If this is a Facebook deal, go to their profile. See what kind of person they are. See if they know what they're talking about. See what they're into. You know, this may sound kind of wrong, but if you go onto Facebook and you find someone on there who's 20 years old and they look like they're 80, and it's very clear that they're into drugs and they're selling their GameCube for like $50, you could probably talk them down to $20 because they probably want it for drug money. I'm not kidding. I've seen that before, and I've gotten some great deals from people like that. So again, you don't have to go to NCIS levels of profiling, but do yourself a favor. If you have the opportunity, profile people. And depending on what type of person they are, depends on what kind of deals you might be able to negotiate with them, or if they'll even know what they're talking about in games, and depends if they know the market or not. So the better you get at profiling someone, and the faster you can do it, the more likely you are to get a better deal from that person, mostly because you'll be the first person to basically communicate with that person, and you can get the deal from them. And on top of that, if you profile someone, you might even learn a better way to come at them. By come at them, I mean in a good way. Say, for an example, they look kind of redneckish, then you could probably come at them a little redneckish too, and they might appreciate that. If they look very intelligent, then it doesn't hurt to come at them a little intelligent-like. People are more likely to help out and associate to those that are similar to them. So, profiling these people and adopting a new persona to match them can do you a world of good in the market of buying video games. There are certain tools you're going to need in buying video games for your collection. Some tools are pretty cheap and easy, and some tools are very expensive, and depending on where you live, you may need some of these expensive tools, aka a car. But in this section, I really want to talk about some of the tools that could prove beneficial for you in buying video games for your collection. Some of these tools will help you buy games. Some of these tools will help you inspect games. So I'm going to try to go over these in the order I think they're most important, but depending on where you live and what your situation's like, the importance could vary for you. So this one should be obvious. If you don't have a place to put the stuff you're buying, you might want to get somewhere to put them. Now, depending on where you live, it might depend on how you want to store your games. You might want to buy shelves to display them for others to see. You might want to make a game room. That'd be great. Maybe you live in a very small apartment or condominium and you don't really have room for your collection or a game room, so maybe you need to rent a self-storage unit. And then you go my route, which is the extremist route, but I think it's the most secure route, and you can literally buy a safe to put them in. Yes, I have a literal safe to put my video game collection in. Is it a bit extreme? Honestly, it probably is. But, to be honest, that does give me a sense of security, as in it's not that easy to get into. If someone really wanted to get into it, they could, but they'd be very loud, and by the time they got into it, I most likely know about it. Say what you will, I think it's vital that you have some sort of security or protection for your stuff. But how you store your collection is up to you. But I do recommend you get some sort of storage container, storage unit, or shelf space for its collection. You really just don't want your game collection sitting on the floor, sitting by your bed, taking up your entire entertainment system. I only have a few games out in my entertainment system, and those are the ones I'm playing. The rest, they go in the safe, they go to storage, they go to the shelf space. So I really recommend that you get some place or some theme to put your games in. Even if you have to put them in a storage container and put them in your attic, and as long as your attic's okay, then they should be fine. But you definitely do need to have some protection and some kind of storage for your games. Is it worth the investment? I think it is. Like I said, I have a big safe. It did cost me a bit of money, but there's no way anyone's getting into that safe. And if they do bust into it, by the time they've gone into it, I probably already know about it. So it's definitely worth investing in something, even if it's just, like I said, storage containers to put your games in, to keep them safe in an attic or a basement or some sort of storage. If you're going to pick one of the attic or basement, I recommend attic, because basements can flood, especially if they're not made right and they leak. So take some of your gaming money and buy yourself some places to put these games, because this is your collection. Treat it right. This is going to be the biggest tool, and the odds are you most likely already have one of these. A cell phone or internet access device of some kind, be it a computer, a tablet, even a gaming console that can surf the web, will prove helpful to you. Now, why is this important? It should be pretty obvious, but I'm going to go over it anyway. You have many outlets to buy video games on: eBay, Facebook, even Gamestop. You will have access to price charting and other means of pricing these video games. And you'll have means of communications with people to buy games from. Like example, a phone, so you can call these people or text them. I get most of my good buys from the internet, and since it's not yard sale season right now, that's about the only place I can get my buys. So it is very imperative that you have some sort of internet access or communication device to get a hold of people and to make deals with. You are going to need some way to get from point A to point B to collect these games from people when you purchase them, or to meet up with them to buy them off of them. You're going to need some sort of mode of transportation. Whether it be a bike, a subway, a car, you're going to need some way to get from point A to point B. Even if it's a friend that can just drive you around or an Uber, you are still going to need some way to meet up with these people. Because to be honest, a lot of your really good deals are going to come from other people that you're going to have to physically go out and meet, whether it be a yard sale or a Facebook meetup. I can't tell you how many times I've missed out on a good deal because the other person did not have a mode of transportation. It sucked to be me, but there's nothing you can do if someone else doesn't have a mode of transportation. But if you have a mode of transportation, depending on how far they are, you might be able to go out of the way for them. And sometimes people will even come down if you ask them, say they live an hour away. You can say, hey, I really like this item. Can we meet halfway at this place? And if they're like, oh no, sorry, I don't have a car. Or, I don't want to leave my house, or something. You can say, okay, well, can I still buy it off you? But if I meet you at your house, would you be willing to take X amount of dollars off to help offset the cost of me coming there, whether it be your time or your gas money? And typically, people will offset the price a little bit. They'll lower it $5 or $10 depending on how far away they are, how far away you are, and if they're really wanting to get rid of it that quickly. So having a mode of transportation is very vital when it comes to buying and selling video games, but mostly buying. Oh, and if you're going to be on foot or subway, you might want to take something like a backpack or something you can just put them in when you're done. That way they're not out and exposed to everyone else to see. And on top of that, it's easier to just carry a backpack when you're back than carrying like a stack of 3 or 4 GameCube games or N64 games in your hand or pockets. So depending on your mode of transportation, you might want to get something extra like a backpack or some sort of satchel or carrying bag. You are going to need cash and you are going to need card. Depending on the situation, you're going to need both. Regardless, you should have both on you if you want to buy games for your collection. Now, if you're buying on eBay or Gamestop, you're definitely going to want to have a credit card or debit card or PayPal account or something that you can make online purchases with. But if you are doing yard sales or Facebook meetups, you definitely want cash. Not everyone is going to want you to PayPal them. So it is very imperative that you have cash, especially depending on your area. If you live in a big city, you can probably get by with PayPaling them or sending them some sort of money through some kind of funds. But if you're like me and you live in a rural area, then cash is your best friend. No one's going to believe you if you want to PayPal them. Especially if there's some guy at a yard sale who really doesn't know what he has and he's just trying to sell all this stuff to get rid of it. You want cash. Cash is your best friend. And another reason you should have cash, because sometimes there's going to be those deals where they just pop up real quick and you're going to need to get there right then and there. So what you need to do is just grab your cash, whether it be under your bed or out of your safe or wherever it is, and you go there. Some people will actually take card though, depending on if they're a business or maybe they'll even have one of those square readers for their phone. So I'm definitely saying not to just solely rely on cash. You definitely do want a credit or debit card or some means to get money from like an electronic account such as your bank. So it's imperative that you basically have funds to buy these games. Depending on what kind of games you're collecting or even consoles, you are definitely going to want to invest in Gamebit drivers and most likely a jeweler set. Now, if you don't know what Gamebit drivers are, they're basically the screwdrivers that have certain heads that will let you take apart like N64 games, Game Boy Advance games, Game Boy games, basically any cartridge-based game from like the 90s or early 2000s. These are vital because, believe it or not, there are fakes out there in the market and some people don't even know they have these fakes. So it is very, very, very important that you do buy yourself a Gamebit driver set and a jeweler set. The jeweler set you probably won't use as much, but once you get into the cartridge, they do get back to like regular like Phillips head screwdrivers and flathead screwdrivers, so it's good to have your jeweler set for that stuff. And they are pretty inexpensive. You can usually get a Gamebit set for like $10 on the internet, maybe even less. It's been a while since I bought mine. And depending on the game and what its value is, you're definitely going to want to crack that open. And depending on the price, you might want to crack it open before you buy it. But do yourself a favor. Drop the $10-20 and buy yourself a nice Gamebit set and a nice jeweler set. You will thank yourself later. And lastly, you're going to want something to track your collection. When I first started collecting games, I was doing it all by memory. That's great and all, but once your collection gets bigger, it's going to be a lot harder to keep track of some of your games. I remember at one point, I almost bought a game I had a duplicate of. And it's not like I could have returned it to GameStop, but at that moment I realized, hey, I have more than I can manage in my head. I need some way to keep track of this. So it is very, very important that you download some sort of tracking app or software that can keep track of your collection for you. Or you can literally write down your collection in a notebook or make a Google spreadsheet. Now, how you want to do it, that's completely up to you, but I personally like using GameEye. It's this app on my phone. It connects right to price charting. So their prices are almost always up to date. It tells me how much my collection's worth, what I have in my collection. I can sort it by different categories. I can sort it by GameCube. I can sort it by N64, PS1 through 4. And almost every single game out there is on GameEye. And it does track the prices of these games for you. So it is very helpful. Honestly, I go to GameEye for my prices more than price charting because it pulls straight from price charting and it's all downloaded to my phone too. Whenever I open it up, it's on internet connection, it downloads all the new prices. So it's on my phone, so if I go somewhere where there's no internet access, I still have the prices on my phone along with my collection. And on top of that, I can whip out my phone somewhere and look up and see if I have something if I'm not too sure if I have it or not. So I really do recommend that you download GameEye or some sort of software that will track it for you and will save internally on your phone and not externally on a cloud. Oh, by the way, this is not sponsored, by the way. GameEye is just this really great app and I really recommend it. But you definitely want something to keep track of your game collection. Without it, you'll probably end up buying something extra here or there that you already own and you'll go, oh. Alright, so let's talk about Facebook. More importantly, buying from Facebook. Now, I've actually cut Facebook into two separate parts because there's so much to go through on Facebook. So for part one of Facebook, we're going to talk about Facebook Marketplace. And for part two, we're going to talk about buy-sell trade groups in Facebook. Each of these are very different and there's no way to go both of them the same. So I'm definitely splitting these up into two parts because they are very different markets and you are going to want to approach them differently. So let's talk about Facebook Marketplace. If you are 18 years of age or older, you can access the Marketplace. All you gotta do is click on the Marketplace thing on Facebook, and you're good to go. Facebook Marketplace is a really great place to get some really good deals. Depending on where you live, you might get some fantastic deals, or you might not get that many good deals. But in this section, we're gonna go over how to approach Facebook Marketplace, because it is very odd sometimes, especially the people in there. So let's get into it. So when you're on Facebook Marketplace for buying video games, you're going to find two kinds of sellers. Ones who are gamers and game sellers and know what they're doing, and you're going to find those who are non-game sellers and don't know what they're doing. And you're going to have to differentiate between the two of them. If you're in Facebook buy-sell trade groups for video games, and you go to a seller's profile, and if it says they are also in the same trade groups as you, then you instantly know that they are a game seller. And you probably won't get the best deal from them. Now, I'm not saying they won't sell you games at good deals, but you're definitely not going to get that $300 video game for $50. Then you have the non-game sellers. These are the guys who are going to give you the best deals, but they also might have the worst prices too. It literally goes back and forth with these guys. These are the guys who might have a copy of Mario Kart Double Dash for $10. These are the guys who are going to have that NES lot that they couldn't sell at their yard sale for $20. And these are the guys you're going to have to hit up fast, and you're going to have to get a hold of them instantly. Because, to be frank with you, you have competition. The odds are, even if you live somewhere like me in the middle of nowhere, you're going to have competition. There's going to be one or two other guys out there who are also into game buying, whether it's for reselling purposes or for their own collection. And you're going to have to be first to the punch. And this doesn't always happen. You know, don't get discouraged, but you're not always going to be first to the punch. There's a lot of times I've missed out on some really good deals just because I was even just a few minutes too late. I've seen hundreds of dollars worth of games come up on Facebook for $30, $40, and it's only been posted for 20 minutes. And I'll click on it, and I'll message them and say, hey, do you still have this? I'm really interested in it. And it's already sold, or it's pending pickup from someone else. So you definitely have competition with these people. How do you find these people? Well, first you look at the picture and see what they have. And then you look at the price. If the price is really low or kind of too low to be true, then the odds are they're not a game seller. You can also go to their seller profile and see what else they're selling. And if they're selling a bunch of other stuff like primitives, knickknacks, or just whatever, then the odds are they're not a game seller, and you might be able to get a really good deal off these people. No two sellers are the same. And depending on the person, you're definitely going to have to change up how you approach them. You know, if someone's being really short with you on Facebook, then you don't want to be short back, but you definitely don't need to be writing paragraphs and paragraphs worth of text. But on the same token, if they're being really open with you and they're talking to you a lot, it would not hurt for you to talk back to them in that sense. You don't need to send them a wall's worth of text, but, don't just send them one word message. Don't just send them, okay, yes, thank you, LOL. Send them, wow, I see you have a game I'm really interested in. Is there any way we can meet up sometime soon? But different sellers are going to have different attitudes and personalities, and it's vital that you can adapt to those. Just because someone's being okay, LOL, sure, whatever, with you, doesn't mean you need to be that way back, but you definitely need to be stern back, and you don't want to be a pushover either. Don't be a jerk, but definitely be stern. Say, well, look, this is what I want, you have it, and I'll give you this amount of money for it. Can we make a deal? So definitely try to learn each seller as much as you can, and try to adapt your approach depending on the individual seller. And this also leads into profiling. Now, this is a little bit different than the profiling we were just talking about. This is literal Facebook profiling, as in go to their profile. It's basically a free range, free market. It's Facebook. Whatever they have on their profile, if they have it open to the public, it's open to the public. Go to their profile. It's not going to hurt you. You can learn a lot about someone just from looking at their Facebook profile. Some people put their whole life stories on there, and some people put the bare necessities. If you're like me, I put the bare necessities. But some people have open range to their Facebook profiles, and use that to your advantage. If you go to their profile, it looks like they're some kind of party animal, and they're always low on money, and they're spending on beer, cocaine, and lottery tickets. You can probably get a really good deal from them, and you're probably going to know that they need money, so you can really talk them down. However, if you go to someone's profile picture and it looks like they have some kind of IT degree from Harvard, or they're a very intelligent person, or they work at a college or university, or some kind of high-end professional job, they've probably done some of their research, and you're not going to get the greatest deal from them, but you can still probably get a good deal from them. Just then you can be intelligent back with them. Do not let them know that you've gone to their profile. That is freaky and weird. But take that little bit of information you learn and kind of apply it to yourself. For example, if they look like they're kind of, let's say redneckish, then you can incorporate, instead of saying you, or say, how y'all doing? Instead of saying, how are you doing? If it looks like they're some sort of doctor or anything, or they're a highly intelligent person or a scientist, you can approach them saying how are you? You can say, good day to you, sir. How has it been? Or something along those lines. So it is very, very, very important that if their Facebook profile is open, that you do profile them on their Facebook profile. You can definitely get more understanding of a person, and it'll change your battle plan on how you can approach them and negotiate certain deals with them. I shouldn't have to say this actually, but view all of the pictures and read the description. I want to say it one more time. View all of the photos and read the description. As a seller, I can't tell you how many times someone has sent me a very stupid question, or they didn't look at the pictures, they didn't read the description, and they just looked at the title and sent me a message. Please, don't only do yourself a favor, but do the seller a favor, and read the description and view all the photos. Typically, most people will put almost all the information you want in the pictures in the description. Literally, while I was recording this video, some woman messaged me about some Wii games I'm selling, and she said, does this come with a Wii console? I never said anything about a Wii console. I have one picture, which is a picture of the games I'm selling, and I have in the description that I am selling them. They are tested and working, and I am open to offers. I'd never said anything about selling a Wii. Why she asked me about a Wii, I have no idea. Obviously, she did not read the description. So you can also save yourself a lot of and save a lot of the seller if you read the description, because usually it'll have in there what they're selling, the details, whether it's tested or not, if they're open to offers. It usually has all that information. And same with the pictures. The pictures can tell you a lot more than the description. Look at them, zoom in at them, inspect them, do what you have to do. Just look at the pictures. Now, if you have questions, do not be afraid to ask them questions. Just make sure it's not stuff that's already there and given to you. If they don't have pictures of the back of the case, send a message like, hey, can I see pictures of the back of the case? Or if they don't have pictures of the disc, say, hey, can I see some pictures of the disc? That's absolutely fine. They didn't show those, and you need to see those to make a decision if this is a good buy or not. So of course, that's appropriate. They didn't show those, so you just ask, no problem. If they're a good seller, they'll get back to you and send you the pictures, or they'll say, hey, I'll get you those when I get home or at this point in the future. And in which case, hopefully they will. And same with the description. If you see something in there that looks off, or, if they don't have or best offer in there, you can send them a message saying, hey, I'll give you this much for it. Unless, if they say firm, then you don't want to give them an offer because they're firm. But they don't say or best offer, still send them an offer anyway. The most they can say is no. They can just say, nope, sorry, I'm sticking to $50. That's the end of it. But again, if the information you're looking for is already in the description, the only thing you should be asking about what's already in the description is asking them to elaborate on it more. If they say there is moisture damage on the artwork, but you can't see in the picture, then you can say, hey, you say there's moisture damage in the description. Can you send me a picture of the moisture damage? Because I don't see it in the pictures. That's completely okay. But do yourself a favor and the seller a favor and read the entire description and look at all of the photos. It's very important that you look at the pricing of the item in Marketplace. Now, if you see Rule Rose on there for $600, that guy probably most likely knows what he has, and he's trying to get more than he can for it. But if you see something like a copy of Rule Rose for $50, snag it. But also make sure you watch the pricing too, because you need to look and make sure it's not a knockoff or a fake. CD games don't get faked as much as console games like Super Nintendo, NES, N64, Game Boy Advance. Game Boy Advances are really bad one. You definitely got to watch out for those. But it's very important that you do look at the pricing of games. If their pricings are really high, the odds are they probably know what they have. So honestly, talking them down to like the going rate isn't really worth it in my opinion. So if their prices are high, you might want to just pass up on the item. If the prices are at going price or a little lower, then you might have a potential deal there, and you can definitely get a hold of them and try to negotiate some sort of deal. And if their prices are low, one of two things. Either they have no idea what they have, and this is your opportunity to strike, or something's up, and that's not right. Now, for determining if it's the opportunity to strike or if there's something wrong, that's up to you because it's different per seller and it's different per situation, so you'll have to go about that one on your own. I can't help you there. But usually if it's way too good to be true, it usually is. But that being said, I have gotten some, I can't believe I got this deal. I got about $300 worth of some games off some old lady one time for $50. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it, but it happened. It really did. And was it too good to be true? It felt like it was, but it was true and everything in there was legit. So definitely look at the pricing because I guarantee you other people are too, and you need to be fast when you analyze this stuff. I already touched up this some in profiling, so we're just going to go over a little bit more on it. But negotiations on Facebook Marketplace are 99.99% through text messages. They are going to send you messages on Messenger, and you're going to send them back. However, sometimes, especially if you get like the older people, they will actually give you your their phone number, and they'll want to talk to you on the phone, or they'll try to call you on Messenger. Now, this has happened before. People are younger in their 20s, but for the most part, this mostly happens with older people who kind of like in the yard sales and just kind of want to get rid of the stuff. But for the most part, negotiations are going to happen through Messenger. And again, you're going to have to profile the person and see what your best course of strategy is. Be polite with them. Be nice. Don't be rude. Don't be a jerk. And don't be short. Or if it's something where you got to say okay, then of course you say okay. But don't go just being like okay for everything, and don't write a paragraph for everything. So bring out your tact, bring out your charm, bring out your negotiation skills, and get the message in people. The better you get at negotiating, the better deals you're going to get. So it's definitely worth learning how to get a hold of people on Messenger and just learn them and become a person that they want to interact with and do business with. This may sound kind of weird and slightly scummy, but have your friends help you. Sometimes some people just don't want to talk to you. I have no idea why. Maybe it's something you said. Maybe you said something completely the same thing as someone else, and for some reason they just didn't like you. But have your friends help. As an example, I'll give you a really quick story how I got my Sony Vegas to play my retro games. So there was this guy giving away a Sony Vega for free about an hour from where I lived, and I had a friend over at the time. And I was messaging the guy, and he kind of just quit messaging me all of a sudden. I didn't do anything weird or say anything out of the ordinary. I said, hey, I'm really interested in this. Is there any way we can meet up? And he said, you have to come get it. I said, okay, cool. Where do you live? I can definitely meet you. Or unless you want to meet somewhere public, I can meet you there too. And he quit responding to me. And my friend was over, and he messaged the guy. And the guy started responding to my friend, but he never responded to my messages. And I have no idea why to this day. But anyway, he made a deal with my friend that my friend would go pick it up. And I was like, okay. So my friend and myself went there and picked up the Sony Wega. I don't think that he ever knew that that I was friends with the guy that he just sold it to. Well, I should say gave it to. But I couldn't tell you why he didn't sell it to me, or in this case, give it to me. But it definitely doesn't hurt to have your friends help you out in these situations. There was some woman a while back selling some PlayStation games, and I was messaging her, and she just wouldn't sell them to me. Like, I tried talking her down a little bit, but I didn't talk her down that much. I think she was selling them for $20, and I talked her down to 15, and she's like, no, I'm not selling them for 15. And that was the end of it. About a half hour later, my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, messaged her, and she was going to sell them to my girlfriend, or wife now, for $15. She didn't sound much different than me. She texted the lady. She might like talked her up just a little bit more than me, but she wanted to sell them to my wife for $15. Unfortunately, we never did get to meet up with her because conflicting schedules. But yeah, it definitely does not hurt to have your friends help you out in these situations. Sometimes some people just don't want to negotiate with you, and they'll negotiate with the next guy. I don't know why, but it definitely doesn't hurt to get your friends involved. Just don't be scummy and have your friend really lowball them just for you to sweep in and give them a better deal. That's scummy. Don't do that. So a lot of people probably don't know this, but you can actually change your location on Facebook Marketplace. All you gotta do is click on the location, and you can hit customize. You can set the radius of how far you want to go. Mileage right now, it goes in a radius. It doesn't go like actual travel distance on a road. So if you can set to 30 miles, you might have to take a 50-mile drive. But on top of that, let's say you're traveling for the weekend or you're going on vacation. You can literally set your Facebook Marketplace location to where you're going. So you can actually scout out the deals of the locations where you're going to be visiting. And on top of that, you can make adjustments to how far you want to go and where you do want to go. And honestly, I think this is a magnificent tool, especially if you're out traveling and you're someone who does a lot of traveling for let's say your job or schooling or whatever. You can still go out and get some good deals just because of this feature. So just don't think because you set your Facebook for your hometown that's where it's always going to be. That's not always where it's going to be. You can change it with the location of your phone, or just you can set it wherever you want. I could go on Facebook right now, set it to New York City, and I can start looking at the deals at New York City. I'm serious. I can do that right now. So it definitely does not hurt to move your locations around. So play with it. See what you think. Some people even ship, so you can move it somewhere, and then you can text that person saying, hey, I live 3 states away, but it says here you're willing to ship, so if I give you $5-10 for the shipping fees, will you ship it to me? I mean, the worst they can say is no. So again, do not be afraid to change the location of your Facebook Marketplace. It can prove vital in helping you buy for your collection. And the last thing I'd like to talk about is white knighting. White knighting is basically where, let's say someone has Royal Rose for $300 and they have it listed for $50. So you basically message them and say, hey man, that's worth a lot more than $50. You know, that's a $300 game. You really shouldn't sell it for $50. You might want to sell it for like $2 or $250. That's white knighting. And I believe there are some do's and some do nots of white knighting. So here's how I feel you should not do white knighting. So basically, don't message someone. Let's say they're selling a $100 game. Don't message them and say, hey man, that's a $100 game. You need to sell that higher. You're not doing anyone any favors except that guy. And then he might put his price too high and he might not sell it. And the odds are he's selling it because he doesn't want it anymore. So definitely do not do that. Another do not of white knighting is if they're selling something, let's say they're selling a $100 game for $50. Do not offer them $70. They're going to wonder, like, why is this guy giving me more than my asking price? Because if you do that, the odds are they're going to wonder why you're giving them more. And if they're wondering, they're most likely going to look it up. And if they look it up, they're going to see it's $100. So then they'll probably like saying like, oh no, never mind. And then they'll relist it later for probably close to $100. So do not offer them more than what they're already selling it for, because the odds are they might look it up and then they won't sell it for a good price to anyone. So how do you do white knighting then? Well, you do it at the place after you've already confirmed a deal with them and you decide to meet up with them. For an example, I mentioned earlier there was this old lady I bought like $300 games worth for $50. She wanted like $5 for all that. Or $5 a piece, I'm sorry. But it wouldn't have been much. It would only have been like 15, 20, 25 bucks. I can't remember what it was. But it was abysmally small, and I felt really bad for her actually. Was I going to give her price charting prices? Heck no, I wasn't going to give her price charting prices. But I wasn't just going to take from her either. I felt really bad in that regard. It's like, man, she has like $300 worth of games here, and I'm getting them for basically 20, 25 bucks. So I can't remember exactly the price. Let's just say she said 20 bucks for all of it. I told her, I said, no, I can't do 20, but I'll give you 50 instead because they're worth more, and I don't want to rip you off. I mean, depending on who you're asking, someone might actually say I did rip her off, but that's another discussion for another time. That's how you do white knight, in my opinion. You basically go there, you confirm your purchase, and you basically make the purchase. But when you make the purchase, you give them a little extra, and saying, you say something like, here, they're worth a little more than that, so I'm going to give you a little extra. Or you say, look, you were a great buyer, these are worth a little more. I'm sorry, you were a great seller, these are worth a little more. Here you go. Have a little extra for it. In my opinion, that's how you do white knighting. You don't screw someone else out of a deal. You don't make them go look it up and then try to get greedy over the item. You give them a bit more. You be fair with them. And again, don't give them price charting, because at the same time, you're trying to get a good deal. But don't give them $5 for a $300 game. Be nice to this person. They don't know what they have. I mean, that's kind of their own fault. That's up to you. And this debate could be an entire video on its own. But be courteous. That's what I'm trying to say here. Now let's talk about Facebook groups, because these are way different than Facebook Marketplace. So you want to find some Facebook groups to join, right? Well, there's a ton of them. A lot of them will have like buy, sell, trade, video game buy, sell, trade, Nintendo, Sony, Xbox buy, sell, trade. There's many groups out there on Facebook, and a lot of them you can just simply join. Some of them will require some kind of application for whatever reason. But for the most part, these are groups that anyone can just join for the most part. And most people here are going to be doing buy, selling, and trading of video games. So this can be both a great place and a not so great place to do these things. Personally, I'm not that big of a fan of buy, sell, trade groups because you don't get really that great of deals here. And usually when you do, it's some guy trying to scam you, and then you got to wait a month to get your money back from PayPal. Now that being said, I have got some great deals here, and I have actually made some friends here. And it can be a great place for me and interacting with people. But for the most part, I'm not too big on Facebook groups, but regardless of that reasoning, we're going to go over like what you should and should not do in Facebook groups. Like how I mentioned, reading all the description and viewing all the photos in a marketplace posting, when you join a Facebook group, read all of the rules of each group. Not all groups are the same, and we'll talk about that here in a second, but it is very vital that you read the rules of every single Facebook group you're in. Some Facebook groups are really sticklers and pretty persnickety, and I don't recommend them. And some Facebook groups are pretty open. But at the end of the day, they all have different rules. Some require you to have a timestamp if the item is over $100 or $200 or $300. A timestamp is basically a piece of paper that you lay down with the item with basically your name and the time and date that you basically took the picture, just to like help keep it from being fabricated and having a Google picture. Again, each group has different rules, and you can get like banned or muted in these groups if you don't follow the rules. So again, read the rules of these groups. Boy, ain't that the truth. Not all groups are the same. I've been in some pretty crappy Facebook groups, if I'm being honest. Some Facebook groups are pretty good, and they're open and pretty chill and laid back. Most people do things they should, and there's no problems. Then you get the Facebook groups that are nothing but sticklers. There are some Facebook groups, like let's say someone has a bundle of games for the Wii. And, you just ask them a simple, innocent question like, would you be willing to sell just Twilight Princess for the Wii out of that bundle? Then you get some admin coming in and being like, oh, you can't do that in this group. What's wrong with you? Didn't you read the rules? Which again, you should read the rules. But sometimes, even just because you did read the rules doesn't mean you're not going to forget them. And some of them can be very sticklerish and very harsh, actually, at times. And some of these communities can be very toxic, especially if you like resell stuff. If you've gone out and bought a special edition and then you went to sell it online to make like an extra 30, 40 bucks off of it, some people in these groups will act like you're the coming of the Antichrist. It's ridiculous how some of these people will act. And on top of that, some of the admins and mods can also be pretty sticklerish. Me personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with asking someone if they'd be willing to separate a bundle, unless they said in their description that they do not want to separate their bundle. But then you get some admin coming in here playing social justice warrior and basically saying like, oh, don't do that. We don't do that here. And they just have these little tiny rules that just makes the group not enjoyable and you don't want to be there. Not all groups are the same, and it's awful sometimes, to be honest. I wish there was a more uniformed method for this, but there isn't. Some groups you go to, they're going to be really great. And some groups you go to, you're instantly going to be leaving. Just like you'd profile someone's Facebook, you can profile these groups. You don't have to go right in and start buying and selling and trading. You can go in and literally just watch it and analyze it. See how the community acts. If you see some guy like posting reselling stuff, like, let's say this was back during the NES Mini craze. If some guy's posting an NES Mini in there for $150, see how people are going to react to that. I mean, that's not a good example for now, but back then, just think of a new example, like a special edition game or something that's in limited quantities. If you see some people in there just bashing this guy for doing that, then that might not be a really good group to be in. If you go in there and you see the admins just flagging people left and right and muting people and banning people that are basically just made it like a really small harmless offense, like maybe they offered a guy something on there, which you don't offer stuff publicly. We'll get to that later. Sometimes these guys are like awful, so definitely profile these groups. It'll save you a lot of hassle down the road. And before you start buying anything on a buy, sell, trade group on Facebook, you will absolutely need a PayPal account. How you fund that is up to you, whether it's through a card or a bank account. But you definitely need a PayPal account. Almost every single buy, sell, and trade group I've ever seen requires that you use PayPal. In fact, most of them do not like anything other than PayPal. And personally, I agree with that. You do not want to use anything other than PayPal. Because if you buy with PayPal, you want to click on goods and services. And this will actually give you protection if someone tries to screw you over or scam you. So let's say you have a Royal Rose on there for $300. You send them $300 PayPal cash, and you never talk to them again, you never hear from them again, and you never get your Royal Rose. What do? Well, that's where PayPal comes in. If you did it goods and services, do not do friends and family. That's literally what it says, friends and family. Do not ever buy anything with that. But if you do goods and services, you get PayPal buyer protection. As in, if this person scammed you, PayPal basically takes your side and they will give you your money back. It takes about a month. I've gone through the process 2 times before, but it's worth it. Just do that. Use goods and services. You are protected with that. If they send you the wrong item, if they send you a misadvertised item, definitely use PayPal. If you use any other means of payment or you use the friends and family, you will never get your money back. I hate to say that. I've seen it happen on Facebook groups where people complain. It's like, I was trying to be nice and save them the fee by doing goods and services, so I take the fee. They're not getting their money back. I hate to say that, but that's how it is at the end of the day. You have to use PayPal. If you want to buy anything from these trade groups, use PayPal. And remember, guys, these guys are gamers, and they are other buyers, sellers, and traders. You are not going to get the end-all, be-all, legendary deal you've been looking for here. Can you get some good deals? Of course you can. But honestly, it is a lot harder to get really good deals here. And honestly, most people come in here to sell stuff to avoid eBay fees. If you were to sell something on eBay, not only do you have an eBay fee, but you have a PayPal fee. If you sell something on a Facebook trade group, you don't have a Facebook fee. You don't have an eBay fee. Your only fee is the PayPal fee. So honestly, I typically only use these groups for selling purposes. I rarely buy anything on here. Now, I have bought stuff off here before, and I actually do have a repeat seller that I do buy from. He's a really great guy. I like him, and he always gives me some really great deals. But for the most part, it's hard to find people like that, and you're not mostly going to get really good deals here. You're going to get okay deals at the best. So just keep that in mind, guys, that these guys are gamers, and the odds are they're going to know what they're talking about. And just like before, read the entire description and view all the photos. We talked about this previously, so I'm not going to reiterate it that much here, but do yourself and the seller a favor and definitely read the stuff. To be honest, I don't know what's wrong with gamers sometimes, but sometimes they can be really mean and really sarcastic. So these people can actually be worse to deal with. I don't know why. I don't know where they get this attitude from. And I'm not saying all people are like that, but I found a lot of them will definitely kind of be a smart ass to you, and they'll smart you off and say, yeah, didn't you read the description? Or I have it right there in the photo. What's wrong with you? So do both of yourselves a favor and read that stuff. And please do not negotiate in the comments section. That is not a place for negotiation. That is a place for chat or letting them know that you have sent them a private message. Nothing else. If you want to talk about the product they're selling, that's fine. Or if you want to talk about how you feel about the product they're selling, not as in what they're selling, but as in like what you think of it, it's like, oh yeah, I played the new Final Fantasy VII game. I love it or hate it. That's a little bit debatable, but again, do not negotiate in the comment section. If they have Final Fantasy VII, the remake, for $60, don't come into the comment section being like, I'll give you $30. What you do, you message them a private message and you say, hey, I'm interested in this. Would you take $30 for it? And then you comment on their posting, I PM'd you a private message, or just PM'd you, or PM'd, and that's all the furthest you need to go in the comment section. I have seen way too many times where people will negotiate in the comment section, they'll make drama in the comment section. It's not worth it. Go to the comment section, private message them, then write in the comment section, PM'd, you're good to go. Then you can negotiate in the private messages and no one else will see it. Because if you put it in the comment section, everyone in that group can see what you're doing. And then you also just open the doors for other people to like negotiate and comment there and have this weird like open negotiation. It's not worth it. Don't do it. Just send them a private message. And on top of that, avoid drama. You're not going to win anything. They're not going to win anything. You're not going to change anyone's mind. You're not going to come out the better person. You're going to make this big social justice warrior like fight, and no one's going to be happy. No one's going to win. You're probably going to make yourself look like a jerk, and you're probably going to make the other people look like jerks. And then the mods are going to step in and shut the whole thing down. And then on top of that, whatever item you are most likely interested in, they won't sell it to you. Or they won't sell it to you at a good price. So do yourself and the entire trade group a favor and just avoid all drama, guys. Really, it's not worth it. Avoid the Facebook drama. The pricing in games in most trade groups are going to be about trying prices. That's about it. Sometimes you'll have stuff that's more, and then they'll try to like defend themselves and say, oh, this is why I have it for more. It's worth it though. But for the most part, the pricing in games are going to be around price charting, so keep that in mind. If you see something that's higher priced than price charting, you might want to look into it and see why, but for the most part, it's just some guy thinking their stuff's worth more than it actually is, and you just need to move on. And if you see a price that's really good or too good to be true, or it's really low, it's one of two things. Like I said earlier, it's a scammer. You'll actually find more scammers on these Facebook groups than you will on Marketplace, so keep that in mind. But it's either a scammer or it's some guy who wants to trade off his collection or sell it off and get rid of it. I had some guy who wanted to sell me like $1,500 worth of games for $500 one time because he was moving and he had to get rid of his collection. There was all these financial problems he was going through and he just had to get rid of it. And I bought it for $500, and he never messaged me again. And about a month later, PayPal gave me my $500 back. You definitely want to pay more attention to the prices here than on Marketplace, because sometimes a lower price could literally just mean a scammer. Definitely watch out for that, guys. Like I said earlier, these guys are gamers, so the odds are they know the price of their stuff. Negotiations can go a little bit differently here, but for the most part, the only difference is going to be the fact that these guys are gamers. So, of course, you can actually talk more about game stuff to them. You can talk about your favorite games. You can talk about what you're looking forward to coming up. And that'll give you more, basically, brownie points because you get to talk to them, know them a bit more, and become friendlier with them. And then they might be open to giving you better deals and better negotiation tactics to use there. So remember, when you're negotiating with these guys, they're gamers. They know what they have already. So don't try to get them to give you a $50 game for $20. It's not going to happen. But you can talk them up a little bit, get to know them a little bit, talk about your favorite video games and stuff, and then you might be able to get that $50 game for $40. You can sometimes profile people here, but for the most part, you know they're gamers. But you can still go to their Facebook profiles and see what kind of person they are in. Like I said earlier, depending on what kind of person they are, you might be able to change your negotiation tactics. But do keep in mind, they are gamers and they do know their price of their stuff. So this will help you with negotiations, but it won't necessarily help you get that end-all be-all fantastic deal you've been looking for all year. And like I said earlier, guys, I personally find Facebook buy-sell trade groups to be best for selling. If you have games you want to sell and you want to sell them online, you're willing to ship them, this is probably the best place to go to do that, because these guys are gamers and they're going to be looking for stuff here. And on top of that, you can avoid eBay fees. But on top of that, these guys can be pricks sometimes, and it's really hard to get some good deals off of these guys. So honestly, I've had better luck on eBay sometimes than here. In my honest opinion, I personally do not like Facebook buy-sell trade groups. They're good for sales. You can sometimes get some okay deals here. But at the end of the day, I think your time's better invested in Facebook Marketplace than it is buy-sell trade groups. But lastly, if you do want to get into these trade groups and you do enjoy it here, make friends. Seriously, it's not going to hurt you at all. It's only going to help you both socially and economically. Like I said before, I made a really nice friend in one of these trade groups. He helps me out a lot. He'll get me some good deals, and he'll find some stuff for me. He'll message me saying like, hey, I got this before I put it on Facebook. Would you like, first call at it? And back at him if I get something. I've literally went to a Goodwill outlet, and I got a case from Mario Kart Double Dash, case, manual, artwork, all that. And I can't remember. I think I only got it for like $1 or $2. And I messaged saying, hey, I got this. Do you need it for anything? I'll literally just sell it to you for the price I got it, plus shipping. And he actually gave me like a couple extra bucks on top of it, and that was really nice of him. But again, make friends here. Not only will this help you socially, you'll have someone to talk to, people to talk to about video games, and friends. It'll also help you economically. You guys can help out each other. So again, make friends. It's not going to hurt you. Now that we got Facebook out of the way, let's talk about eBay. So if you don't know what eBay is, I don't even know how you're watching this video because you're living in a cave, obviously. But eBay is a place where people can go on there and buy and sell anything they want, basically, as long as it's within eBay's terms of services. So is eBay a great place to buy video games? It actually can be sometimes, yes. Will you get the end-all be-all great deals here? No, those are in other places, which we'll get into later. But you can actually get some pretty good deals on eBay, and we'll go over those in a second here. So probably one of the biggest things you can do for yourself is make yourself an eBay watch list. So it's very easy to make this. Basically, search for whatever you want on eBay, then set the filters to what you want, and then just under the All Listings, Accept Offers, Auction, Buy It Now tab, you will see where it says Save This Search. If you're on mobile, it'll say it right under the search bar, so just so you know for mobile users. So after you hit Save This Search, it'll save all the criteria you just put in to your Save Search list. And on that list, you will basically get an update whenever something new is posted. So then when something new gets posted on eBay, you can even set it up to get a notification on your phone or email. So then when a new item does get listed, you can check it out right away. See if it's a great game to buy and right then and there for a deal. But if it's not that great of a deal, you can then just click the heart button to watch it, and this will actually add it to your watch list for you. And this is a very good thing because you definitely want to add to your watch list often. Now you may be thinking to yourself, why do I need to add to my watch list often? Well, for one, your phone will notify you 15 minutes before something goes down on eBay. So if it's an auction or it's ending soon, you will actually get a notification on your phone saying, hey, this item's going down. If you're still interested in it, now is the time to pay attention to it. And on top of that, when you watch an item, the seller will actually know that you're watching the item, and they can actually send you an exclusive offer that no one else gets. There's many times I'll see an item that's just right at price charting, and I'm like, I'll add it to my watch list. And then about 2 or 3 hours later, I will actually get an offer for $5, $10, or even $20 off the item from the seller. And you can add, as far as I'm aware, you can add as much as you want to your eBay watch list. So if you see something that's already at an okay price, add it to your watch list. The seller might actually send you an offer for that item. And then if they send you an offer for that item, you could potentially either A, accept that offer, and then buy it straight out for that price that they sent you, which is cheaper than the listed price. Or B, this could open you up to negotiations, and then you could message the person and maybe even discuss a smaller price or a lower price, saying like, hey, I can't really do $25 on that item, but I can do 20. So again, it is vital that you use the save search and the watch list to your advantage. They will both help you out a lot on eBay. And like I said earlier, if they don't send you an offer, eBay will let you know that item's about to go off. So for some reason, no one's bid on a certain item or no one's bought it yet, and it's at a good price, you might be able to get it for a good price. And if an item's about to end soon, on your, let's say your watch list sends you, hey, this item's going off in 15 minutes, and if they have $20 or best offer, you might be able to send out a quick, last minute $15 offer to a seller, and they might actually take it because they might not want to relist their item. They might just want to get rid of it, like, oh crap, it didn't sell. But this guy wants it for $15, so they can either take it or leave it, basically. So definitely utilize the save search to your advantage, and definitely utilize the watch list to your advantage, both of which can help you out immensely. I personally find auctions to be a waste of time for the most part. Now, I'm not saying auctions are a total waste of time, but almost everything I have bought on eBay, I have bought buy it now or best offer. For some reason, when people do auctions on eBay, they get into this state of mind where they gotta beat the other person. It's like a competition or a game to them. And that basically raises the prices up way too high. I have seen so many times where something on eBay will go $20, $30 over price charting. And I have no idea why. Just there were so many bidders on it. Just the other day, I saw a Beautiful Joe go for $80. As of this recording, it's a $30 game on price charting. I have no idea why this game went for $80. But eBay is just filled with places for people bidding up. Now, I do hear things where people just don't pay for it and it just gets relisted later. But regardless, you don't need to be going against someone like that. So, I highly recommend staying away from auctions. Now, that's not to say you can't get stuff at good deals on auctions. I have. I got my Wild Arms for PS1 for like $35 on an auction, and no one bid on the stupid thing. But in my experience, most things that go in auctions typically go at price charting prices or even higher. So, in my opinion, auctions are something you should avoid, but you still need to watch out for, because sometimes there will be that one item that does go really cheap on auction and no one bids on it for no reason. Take them how you would, but I personally avoid auctions for the most part. I'll basically watch an item on my watch list while it's low, but then once it starts to get higher, I'll just take it off my watch list because then I don't even care at that point. Keep an eye out on auctions, but don't rely on them. Sometimes people really like to bundle on eBay, and honestly, typically bundles are a good buy. But they are only a good buy if you are a brand new collector and you have basically nothing. Or you have nothing that is in that bundle. I've seen a lot of times where someone on eBay will post 50 NES games for $150. And there's probably $200 worth of NES games there. That's great and all, but if you already own a bunch of those NES games, or you're not collecting NES games, then kind of what's the point? There's really no need for you to buy that bundle. Honestly, bundling's really good if you're a new collector and you want a large number of bulk games, whether it be expensive games or cheaper games. Usually you can get a decent rate at a bundle. But bundles are definitely not good for someone who has a pre-established collection and has a lot of something already. The odds are there's going to be games in that bundle that you already have. So then you'll get extra games that you have to sell yourself. And then is it really worth it to spend the hours and hours and hours to sell those 5 or 10 extra games that you didn't want in that bundle just to save yourself $30? In my opinion, no, it's not. I would just go out and personally pick and choose the games I want. But if you are a brand new collector to this scene, or you really want to get a boost in your starting process, then bundling can be a great thing for you if you're in that situation. I personally believe you get your best deals on eBay through buy it nows and best offers, basically when someone posts an item and it's at a low price or already at a low price. Almost all my good eBay finds have been someone just posting the item for $10, $20, $30 under price charting prices, probably because they just want to sell it and they don't want it to sit on eBay for 20 days. And on top of that, sometimes these people put up best offers. When you should send them an offer and when you should buy it now will basically be up to you, but I'll tell you this, if it's a $150 game and they have it $100, buy it now on eBay or best offer, don't send them a best offer, just buy it because someone else is going to buy it. I can't tell you how many times that I've gotten great deals off someone very quickly because I didn't get super greedy and I just clicked the buy it now button. Now there have been times where I have been greedy and someone would have like, let's say a $150 game for like $130 and I sent them like a best offer of like only $5 off. Then the item was gone. That was me being cheap and greedy and trying to save myself $5 when I could have just, spent the extra $5 and had that game then and there. So for the most part, if the price is already really good, don't bother with the offers and just bite the bullet and buy that item. Because I guarantee you other people are looking at that item. In fact, eBay will actually tell you how many people has viewed that item per hour. I don't think it's very accurate, but if it's a brand new item that just got released on eBay like 20 minutes ago and it says 50 people have viewed this item and it has a watch list of 10 people, I guarantee you it's going to be gone within the next hour. So if you see a price game on eBay that's a really good price, like $30, $40, $50 off price charting, you might want to grab it then and there. Now when it comes to offers, I personally like making offers because I personally like haggling and negotiating. And sometimes you can get some really good deals with best offers. Now, you're not always going to get the end-all, be-all great deal, but sometimes you get some really good deals and you can really negotiate with people and talk them down a bit. Now, you don't do much actual negotiating on eBay. We'll get into that in a few minutes. But for the most part, how offers go on eBay, let's say their item's $50. You send them an offer $30. They send you a counter offer of $45. You send them a counter offer $35. And you basically just start working to get to this middle ground that you both are happy with. Typically, no words are transacted here. However, there is a place where you can write like an offer or comment section with your best offer. Most people don't use this though, and I don't use it, and most sellers don't use it either. Sometimes they'll use it, and sometimes you can negotiate with it. But for the most part, how best offers go, you just start working your way to like a middle ground, and you either accept the offer at the end or you don't accept it. My strategy is I basically pick a number. Let's say it's a $50 game. I don't want to give any more than $40. So I'll offer them $30. And I'm hoping to try to get them down to at least that $40 range or under. And if I can get them to that $40 range or under, then I will buy the item. But you really can get some good deals with best offers. It literally just depends on the eBay seller and if they want to get rid of that item or not. eBay is a no BS service. You don't negotiate with people. You don't talk to them that much. You barely send them messages. It's basically a no negotiations website. You go there, you find the item, you either buy it or you send them an offer. And like I said earlier, you do that thing where you back and forth the offer and you barely speak to each other. People are not much for talk on eBay, and they are not up for negotiation that much either. There have been countless times where I'll send someone a message saying like, hey, I see you have 3 games that I'm really interested in on your store. Would you be willing to make some kind of deal if I was to buy all 3 of them? And then I won't get a message back for 2 days. I'm like, oh, sorry, 2 of them sold. It's like, why did you even bother messaging me back at that point? It's been 2 days. I was interested in 3 of your items back then, and you never got back with me. I know you were on here within 2 days, so I don't understand that. So to be honest, most people aren't up for negotiation on eBay. Some are, but for the most part, most negotiations will not happen on eBay. So it's really not worth your time sending them messages, trying to talk them down or negotiate with them. You're best off just either buying the item or just sending them an offer until you get one you like. If you can't get the offer you like, move on. It's not the item for you, and you will find another. When viewing an item on eBay, you definitely want to make sure it is an actual picture of the item. Now, when you go to sell something on eBay, they will always show you a stock photo at first. And personally, I do not like stock photos. They are not good. They don't show an accurate representation of what you're buying. And especially if it's a high dollar game, you want an actual photo of the item. And on top of that, you want to make sure there is at least a picture of all angles of the item. I can't tell you how many times I bought an item on eBay and it said the condition was very good, like new, one of those two, and they only showed the front of the box, the manual, and the disc. They never showed the back of the box. And then I open up my package, and the back of the box has these giant indentations. The artwork is like ripped in two, or just some kind of bullcrap that didn't match the item description or the condition that was listed. So then I have to get a hold of the person saying, hey, you had this listed as very good condition, and very good condition clearly states on eBay here that there is to be no damage to the outer case, and this case and artwork is basically destroyed. And then you have to negotiate with them to either A, send them the item back, or B, get a partial refund, depending on how you want your games, like what condition, and if you're okay with the condition it came in. It is very vital that you have pictures, and if there are no pictures listed, and this is a big ticket item, then you seriously may want to consider messaging that seller and saying, hey, can I have some more pictures, please? And like I said on Facebook earlier, read the entire description. If there's a little claim in there that you misread, then eBay's not going to cover you if you're not happy with your purchase. It may say something in the description like, oh, the back is brutally mutilated, but they don't have a picture of that. And then if you go to eBay and you buy it and you get it and you're disappointed because the back is brutally mutilated, and then you go to like make a complaint to eBay, they're not going to cover you, especially if they had the condition listed properly. If they had it listed as like good or acceptable, and they even clearly stated in their description that the back was mutilated, but they never showed it in a picture, eBay's not going to help you. They're going to say you should have read the description, you should have read the condition of the item, sorry about your luck. Again, it's very vital that you read the entirety of the description and you read the conditions, and on top of that, it's best that you at least somewhat memorize what the conditions are. Like new and very good are supposed to come with the game case and manual. And it's different per category. Video games like new and very good are very different than like DVDs and glassware and silverware and that kind of stuff. So it is very, very imperative that you read all of the conditions, descriptions, and everything on an item you are going to buy on eBay. And on top of that, watch out for very vague descriptions. Goodwill is very good at doing that. Sometimes Goodwill will sell video games on eBay, but they always only have a stock photo, and they always just have a very vague description. It's like, Rule Rose. That's it. And you have nothing to go off of. If there's a stock photo and the description is just like, Rule Rose in very good condition, that's a horrible description, and you have no idea what you're getting. You do not want to buy an item like that. In those cases, you got one or two options. You either A, move on, which is honestly your best bet, or B, message the seller, and I'll guarantee you if they have a very vague description, they are going to send you a vague answer to your question. I've seen multiple times where some business is selling a game, whether it's like a secondhand business like Salvation Army, Goodwill, and I'll send a message saying like, hey, you have this item listed here, you only have a stock photo and your description is very vague. What's the condition of this game, and does it come with the game case and manual? They will basically just send you a copy and paste of the item description and send it back to you. This has happened to me multiple times, and I've gotten to the point where I don't even bother with these. It's really not worth it. Move on. Try to get something that at least you know what you're getting. There will always be other things on eBay. Like we said earlier, patience is a virtue with collecting. And when it comes to eBay, just remember, eBay is open to many people across the entire world. There will be another. It may take like 6 months or even longer, but there will be another. Always check the seller's feedback. If the seller has like 50% feedback and have all these negative reviews, don't buy from them. The odds are you're going to get a piece of crap, or it's not going to be as listed, or they're just going to take your money and run. They're going to have to do the whole PayPal, eBay thing, wait a month to get your money back. It's not worth it. Always, always, always check the seller's feedback before you buy from them. Sometimes just reading the little comments that people leave on their feedback can be helpful. Sometimes people can be very vague, and then you read the comments and they're saying like, yeah, I bought this and I thought I was getting this, but he sent this instead. That can help you out a lot. So always read the person's feedback. I know we just talked about not buying from people with bad feedback, but people with no feedback can actually net you some profits. Everyone starts eBay with no feedback. So sometimes people with no feedback, people don't want to buy from those people, and unfortunately, you do have to start with no feedback, even if you have no idea if these are honest to God people, or if they're basically scummy people. You have no idea. Now, eBay does have your back, and PayPal has your back, so if you are scammed, at least you can get your money back if you're willing to wait like a month. So people on eBay who have no feedback, who basically just need to get feedback, can actually net you profits because no one else wants to buy from them. And if no one's buying from them, they might set their prices low until someone does like take the chance and buy from them. So what I'm trying to say here is sometimes it's not a bad idea to buy from people with no feedback, because these could be people who are just starting out on eBay. Like I said, everyone has to start at ground zero, so this could be an honest person just trying to start up his eBay. It doesn't hurt to buy from these people. Like I said, eBay and PayPal does have your back. If it looks like there's a good deal to be had here, you might want to go for it, especially if their pictures are good and their description is good. And like I stated in Facebook earlier, if you have any questions, especially ones that aren't answered in the description or the pictures, do not be afraid to message the seller. If they want to sell their product, they will message you back and they will give you all the answers you need to make a decision. Message them. The worst they can do is just not message you. And if they don't message you, just move on. And remember, guys, on eBay, both eBay and PayPal have your back. So as long as you do your homework, you look at the pictures, you read the description, you read the condition, and if something goes wrong, eBay and PayPal will cover you. Like I said, it's just very, very important that you do your homework. You know, look at all the photos, read the entire description, and check out the condition that it says it comes in and make sure it matches the photos in the description. And if you've done all your homework and then they send you the wrong item or try to scam you or send you a malfunction item, then you can very easily take it to eBay and PayPal and they will cover you. You are covered in that regard. Oh, GameStop. The dreaded GameStop. So why are we talking about GameStop here? Well, you can actually get some pretty good deals at GameStop sometimes. As much as a horrible company they are, and I don't like supporting them, but honestly, sometimes you can get some really good deals at GameStop. So of course we're going to cover like the do's and don'ts and my opinions on what you should do at a GameStop or online at a GameStop. So one of the first things you should do at GameStop is you should compare the prices of GameStop to price charting. GameStop is very good at not being close to price charting a lot of times. Now, if it's a Mario or Zelda or some really big title, the odds are it's going to be closer to price charting or it's going to be higher. However, GameStop does not look at niche games that much at all. I've gotten some like somewhat obscure RPGs that are worth $20 or $30 for less than $10 at GameStop. And why is that? Because no one cares about them. No one's going to go looking for a B-tier JRPG that didn't really sell that well. No one's going to be looking for those really obscure off games that no one talks about on YouTube or Twitter or on the internet. GameStop's mostly going to focus on stuff that they know they can sell. They can sell their Maddens, they can sell their Duties, they can sell their Final Fantasies and their Tales of Berzerias, Tales of Zestarias. But honestly, sometimes they have trouble selling those really weird, obscure, niche Wii, PS3 JRPGs and like other niche games of other categories. So they don't pay attention to them as much as price charting. So just because they go for high on eBay doesn't mean they're going to go for high on GameStop. So definitely do your homework and check their price charting prices with your GameStop prices, because sometimes there's a big gap between them and you can get some really solid deals at GameStop. At this current recording, GameStop is a declining company and probably going to die soon. So as such, they have sales all the freaking time. Buy two, get one. Buy two, get two. 30% off, 20% off, you name it, they've had a sale. Recently they've had a sale like every other week. So they have sales constantly. Is it smart to buy stuff outright from GameStop? Usually not. Sometimes it can be worth it if the price is already good. But for the most part, GameStop is really, really, really good at having a sale like every other week. They have the buy two, get ones on current gen quite often. So if you're definitely collecting this gen or last gen, so PS4, PS3, 360, Xbone, Switch, Wii U, Wii, you can actually do some really good for your collection at GameStop, because GameStop will have buy two, get ones, and they'll also have buy two, get twos. And on top of that, I believe they're currently trying to clear out a lot of their PS3 and 360 library, especially since the PS5 and the Series X is coming out soon. So definitely look out for those, especially if you want to get some like games from there. You can probably easily get a giant PS3 collection for under $100. Same with a 360 collection. So keep in mind, GameStop has deals continuously for the most part. And it'd be foolish to not take advantage of some of them, because some of them are actually pretty good. Test everything you buy at GameStop. You might pull it out. The disc might look good. I bought stuff at GameStop before and it doesn't work. GameStop does not test their stuff. You ever trade anything to GameStop? You go in, you hand them the case. They take the disc out, they look at it and they say, yep, it looks good. Or they say, ooh, that's scratched. And either one or two things happen. If it's scratched, they'll give you like a refurbished fee and then they'll give you like partial the trade money. Or they say, yep, it looks good, and they send it on. What happens when it gets sent on? It might get buffed, or it might just get skipped through the process and just go back to another store. And in that case, you take it home and you pop it in, it doesn't work. So then you just take it back. So it's very, very, very important that you test everything you buy at GameStop. And if you go to an actual GameStop and not buy online, inspect it. Check the case out, check the artwork out, see if it has a manual. You can pop them open, they don't care. And if you're really worried about it, even ask them before you buy it. Hey, may I look at the disc? The odds are they'll probably tell you yes. Especially if they knew you, they'll probably tell you yes. So definitely inspect your product and test it. And the same thing with retro. If you buy like a N64 cart off them or a Game Boy Advance cart, they don't check to see if that stuff's real or not. And Game Boy Advance stuff is really bad about not being real. You know, you buy your Game Boy Advance game, it gets sent to your house. Just take your Gamebit, open it up, look at the board, make sure it's right. It's a cartridge game, it's most likely going to work. You know, screw it back together, throw it in your Game Boy Advance, and just see if it works. Speaking of retro, only buy cartridges for retro games on GameStop. GameStop does not have to give you the case. GameStop does not have to give you the manual. The only thing GameStop has to give you is the game. If you just want the game, then that's great. Then you can buy disc-based stuff. Me personally, if it came in something that wasn't a cardboard box, I want the case and manual. So that's why I say, if you're going to buy retro, only buy cartridges, because you will not get a case, you will not get a manual, and if you do get one of those, you're very lucky, because most people don't get that stuff. And on top of that, the cartridges are way more durable and sturdy in the mail, and all they do is throw them in these like bubble mailers at the most, and then pray you get it, and it's like, you know, not damaged or scratched or anything. And they also send the disc games like these like little paper envelopes. They're awful. I don't know why they do that. But do yourself a favor and save yourself a lot of hassle. And if you buy retro from GameStop, only buy cartridges or stuff you definitely do not want the manual or the box to. And on top of that, GameStop actually has a really good return policy. You have 7 days to return stuff to the store that's pre-owned if you're not satisfied or it doesn't work. So if you buy a retro game online, let's say you buy Kirby 64, and it doesn't work, or they sent you a fake, just take the mailing slip with you to your local GameStop, take it to the counter and say, hey, this was a fake, or hey, this doesn't work, and they'll issue your money back, and they'll send it back for you. GameStop actually does have a really good return policy, and they're really good at covering their customers in that regard. I don't like praising GameStop that much, but their return policy is actually really good. You can go into the store, pick up a game, take it home, as long as it's pre-owned, by the way. And if it doesn't work, or if there's something about it you don't like, take it back. You have 7 days. Most local GameStop stores get most of their inventory through trades. They don't get much inventory from like shipment or any of that other stuff. They mostly get their inventory from trades. So it doesn't hurt to go to GameStop once or twice a week just to see what people's traded in. You know, just because there wasn't a copy of like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild in there on Monday doesn't mean they won't have one on Thursday. They might get one in there. So it doesn't hurt to check GameStop about twice a week just to see if someone brought in something. In fact, how did I get my copy of Fire Emblem Fates Super Duper Ultra Take Your Money Edition? Easy. I bought it at GameStop used. No, literally, that really exclusive edition of Fire Emblem Fates that actually had all the games on one cart, someone literally traded that into my GameStop store, and I bought it. Stuff like that can happen, so definitely check your GameStops, because sometimes some good stuff does show up in there. And lastly, get to know the employees, possibly make friends with them. You know, the odds are they're working there, they're into games. You can talk to them, get to know them. Sometimes they may not want to talk to you. Whatever, just move on. Maybe they do. It's honestly not a bad place to make friends and meet some good people there. GameStop, the corporation, is evil. But GameStop, the employees who work in the stores, most of those guys are just like us. They're just trying to make a living and they like playing video games. So get to know them, talk to them, be nice to them, don't be rude to them. It's not their fault their company's horrible. And chat out with them. You might make some friends there too. Like I said, you don't have to go through this journey alone. You can make friends along the way. I like local game stores. Okay, let's change that. I like some local game stores. I've been to quite a few local game stores in my times, in my travels, or just locally. There's actually not many local game stores near me. There's actually only 2, and I like both of them, actually. But local game stores are really unique. They're not owned by, like, these big corporations that change the prices all the time and do all this stuff. They're usually just owned by, like, 1 or 2 guys, or it's like a mom and pop shop, or a husband and wife that just really like video games and just want to make a business out of it. And sometimes you can get some really good deals at local game stores, but sometimes you can't, and we're going to discuss that a little bit here. When you visit a local game store, or just a privately owned game store, you really need to profile the store. Look it over. You know, look at the interior, look at the exterior. Okay, exterior doesn't matter. Look at the interior more so. See what kind of people are working there, what kind of games they have, what kind of merchandise do they have, how do they decorate their store. All sorts of things can tell you, like, right out the bat whether a local game store is, wow, this is a great place, or, wow, I gotta get out of here. You know, do they have barcodes on their items, or do they just have, like, little price stickers on their items? Do they only sell video games, or do they sell DVDs and movies? Do they sell systems, controllers, player's guides, anything video game related? Like, you really need to profile these stores because not all game stores are the same. I've been to different game stores. There's one game store I went to where every item had a barcode and they could change the prices on their computers instantly. And I've been to some game stores where they price an item, they throw it on the shelf, and it never gets the price changed. And depending on what happens with price charting, that price can end up being really good or really bad. So not all game stores are the same, and you definitely need to profile them. Another big factor about local game stores are their prices fair? Now, keep in mind, these are privately owned local game stores. They probably need to make all the money they can. Some of them do really well, and some of them are just barely making it by. So if you go into a local game store and you see a $50 game going for $55, don't think to yourself, oh, he's overcharging, I don't ever want to shop here. Keep in mind, they got to make money off this stuff too. And if they sold all their stuff really low, they'd never get inventory because the odds are they're getting their inventory from trades, just like GameStop. However, you do want fair prices. You know, you don't want to go into a game store and you see, you know, a $50 game for $70. That's just ridiculous. I'm sorry. But you also got to wonder about the trending stuff too. I've gone to game stores with the upcoming Final Fantasy VII re-release, and one game store was trying to sell the game for like $60. I was like, you're kidding me. This is a $20 to $30 game. I know it's trending and all that, but it is not worth $60. Definitely make sure the prices are fair. Fair is around price charting. Maybe $5 or $10 under, maybe $5 or $10 over. Yes, they can be higher than price charting. That is okay in these situations because, like I said, at the end of the day, they are a privately owned corporation. And I don't have a corporation. There's a privately owned LLC, and they need to make money too. And at the end of the day, it's going to be hard for them just to beat price charting and take in the trades, let alone selling the stuff to make money off of it. So if their prices are a little higher than price charting, don't think they're trying to scam you. You know, they probably have good prices if you look. But if you do go in there and you see like a Mario game that's like $20 or something, and you see it in there for $50, then that's not a very good local game store, and you probably need to get out of there. Because sometimes these local game stores will raise the prices of like really popular games like Zelda and Mario and Kirby to ridiculous astronomical prices, like $30 or $40 over price charting. And you gotta watch out for that. If you see that, that's basically a red flag to get out of there. So pricing of games in a local game store can tell you so much about a game store so quickly. And if you see a lot of games that are just way above price charting, then you probably need to get out of there. When you're in a local game store, what you really need to look for is like good prices for one. That's like the number one thing. And then two, see if their stuff is like actually in good condition and if they have good prices on the stuff and how their stuff is presented. If it's just in a just big bin where it's just filtered through it like the DVD bin at Walmart no one wants, that's not a very good presentation, and no one wants that. When you're at a local game store, prices are probably the number one priority. Number two would definitely be your presentation. If it's presented in a good way, then you're going to want to come there, and then they probably take pride in their merchandise, and they care about it. But if it's, like I said, in the Walmart $5 DVD bin, then they don't take much pride in their merchandise, unless those are like the $1 games no one wants, then that's okay. Another thing to look out for is the employees and the owners. You know, are they very nice, good people, worth talking to? Or are they just like, yeah, what it'll be? if they're like those kind of people, that's probably not a store you want to buy at. And you probably want to buy at a store where people are more friendly and open towards you. And they may even be more entitled to give you a better deal if they get to know you, or to at least let you know if they get better merchandise in. So does your local game store have sales? That is a big factor. I've gone into local game stores and their prices are about fair. They're about price charting, but they don't have sales. I'm like, well, okay, GameStop's having a sale on these. I understand they're not GameStop, but at the end of the day, it's like sometimes sales can really help with you adding your collection, and it'll help give them business. There's a local game store I go to within an hour drive to me that I really like, and they have sales monthly. They basically have these new monthly sales. Every month it's something new. Maybe it's like buy two, get one PS3, buy two, get one Wii, buy two, get one Xbox. Or maybe it's just all pre-owned, buy two, get one. They have a sale every month. It's something new, and I really enjoy it, and that makes their prices really good, because if they have a buy two, get one on GameCube, then I can buy two $50 GameCube games and get a free $50 GameCube game. That's a great deal, especially since their prices are usually around price charting. So if your local game store has sales, definitely take advantage of those, because sometimes those sales can be like better than GameStop, eBay, and any of the other stuff combined. And when you're looking at games at a local game store, always look through all of them. You know, let's say you go there and you want a copy of Final Fantasy X for the PS2. You know, it's like $5 to maybe $10 game, more like a $5 to $7 game. And you're scrolling through there, you know, you see $7, $7, $7. Then you come across one that's like $4, and you're like, what? Because not all game stores keep up to date with their stuff. When they get it in, they slap the price tag on it, they throw it out on the shelf, and that's where it stays. They see what profit they can make off of it, so they say, oh, that's the profit we'll make off of it. We slap it, and they see the price charting prices, so they throw it up on the shelf, and they call it a day. Now, most of them will update their prices once in a while, but they don't go up there every day like GameStop does. They don't get issued new price stickers they have to put out there all the time. It's up to them to set their prices, so definitely look through, especially if they have a lot of the same game, look through them. They might even change the prices based on the condition. One might have faded artwork, so they lowered the price by $1. Or maybe it's missing the manual, so they lowered the price by $5. So definitely look through them, because there's been times where I looked for a game, and I found one that was like $3 under, and it still had the manual, and the case was in good shape and everything, so I bought it. So definitely look through every game they have there if they have multiple of the same, because their prices might fluctuate, and you might get a better deal. And always, always, always inspect the product being sold to you. You know, you're at a local game store. If they're not going to let you inspect it, then that should already send you a red flag. So open it up, look through the manual, see if there's anything wrong with it. If it's tear, got water damage, look at the artwork, look at the case. You know, the odds are they have the game behind the counter, and you always say, hey, may I look at the game, please? The odds are they'll most likely tell you yes, and if they tell you no, again, that's another red flag. But, you know, look the disc over, look the cartridge over. Always inspect your product before you buy it. And before you make any purchase at a local game store, check their return policy. Now, if a local game store has no return policy, like, well, once you take it, it's yours, see you later, you have no protection. That game disc may look good, no scratches, no disc rot, nothing. You take it home, you pop it in, and for some reason, it just won't read. Sorry about your luck. If they don't have a return policy, then you're out of luck. Now, if they have a return policy, then, you know, you go home, you pop the disc in your console, it doesn't read, you take it back and say, hey man, this doesn't work, can I exchange it or get my money back? And, you know, if you're within your rights, then yeah, they'll exchange it for you. So always make sure they stand behind their product and they have a return policy, because if they don't stand behind their product, you don't want to buy from them. I recommend trading your extras to local game stores instead of GameStop. Usually they look at price charting a lot more, and they can usually give you a little bit more than GameStop. And on top of that, you're helping out a local business. So, you know, you have some extras you don't want or need, or, you know, you got them at a yard sale for you got this $20 game at a yard sale for $5, take it to your local game store, man. It'll give you $7 or $8 for it. And then they can sell it for $20, and they can make a little money, you can make a little money, and you keep them in business. It's a win-win. So if you have the chance, definitely trade your extras into your local game stores instead of GameStop. You might get a little bit more money than GameStop, and on top of that, you help them thrive as a business. And try to visit often. My local game store is over an hour away, unfortunately, so I don't get to visit it too often, but every time I'm in that town, I definitely give it a stop. You know, most of these places are getting all their inventory from trades. They're not like GameStop where they get shipments and all that. Yes, GameStop mostly does get their inventory through trades, but they also do get shipments. Most of your local mom and pop shops, they do not get shipments of any kind. What gets brought in is what gets brought in. That's all they have. So definitely stop by once or twice a week if you can. Their inventory is going to fluctuate a lot probably. And the more you're there, the more you can see different inventory, and you might be able to beat someone else and get a game at a fair price, especially if they're running a sale and that game qualifies for that sale. And lastly, get to know the employees and make friends here as well. Like we said earlier, it can't hurt you at any, and more so it'll help you. And some of these guys might even help you out. They might add you on Facebook, you get to become good friends with them, exchange contact information like your phone number. You know, maybe you become friends with the store manager, and you tell them like, hey, I've been looking for a copy of Rule Rose, and then one day someone brings one, he's like, hey man, I got a copy of Rule Rose, someone just traded in right now, we got it for $300, and we're actually going to sell them buy two, get one PS2, so you might want to get up here if you want this. Most of these game stores, they don't have big Facebook things or websites where they can show you what they have all the time, so they might not advertise that much either, so having an insider to like just give you help like that or talk to you and be your friend can be very beneficial. And on top of that, again, you can make friends. You get to talk about games. Maybe you can even play some games sometime. Maybe they host tournaments and you can help them run a tournament. Or maybe you guys can just hang out sometime when you're both off work and like go out and get dinner, talk about video games, go to each other's house, play some Xbox or PS4 or Switch or whatever you're into. There's nothing wrong with about it, and there's nothing wrong with making friends here. Yard sales and flea markets are a wonderful, wonderful thing. This is where you get your absolute best deals. Your second best is Facebook Marketplace. This is your best deal spot. More so yard sales, not the flea markets, but I'm going to put them under the same thing because they're almost identical. Most of the time, yard sales are people who go through their closet, go through the act, say, I don't want this anymore. Or I haven't touched this in 20 years. I'm selling it. They don't look up anything. They just grab the stuff they don't want. A lot of times it's junk, but sometimes there's some good stuff there. Other antiques, firearms, glassware, just a bunch of antiques you can get. You can get a lot of nice stuff at yard sales sometimes if you know what you're looking for. This is your best deal spot. Definitely go to these when you get the chance. Because I guarantee you, yard sales can be like your number one spot to get a Wii for like $10 or like a $50 game for like $5. Definitely check out yard sales. Sometimes you can get modern stuff really cheap. I got Jump Force when it just came out for like $10 at a yard sale. And I took it to GameStop and traded it for like $25. It was great. I loved it. But again, yard sales are your best friend. So if you get an off weekend or you get a chance to go do some yard selling, definitely take advantage of yard selling. With that in mind though, remember, you have competition. There's other people out there looking for really good deals at yard sales. As much as you're not going to like this, and a lot of gamers probably aren't going to like this, you got to get up early in the morning. You're probably going to have to get up around 5 o'clock in the morning, get out there by 6 if you want to start yard selling. A lot of people, especially older people, are the early bird gets the worm type of people. So they're going to be getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to get their yard sale up at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. So you got to get up and you got to get out there. That's like the only way you're going to beat the competition. You know, let them sleep in. You get out there at 7 o'clock in the morning, you start hitting yard sales left and right. I can't guarantee you're going to find something, but it's definitely going to help you out in finding something. When you think about yard sales, you got to think about how far are you willing to travel. If you're like me, there's nothing around here, and there's not that many yard sales. So sometimes I got to go further than I want to go for a yard sale. I've gone 30 miles one way for yard sales before. It sucks, yeah, but sometimes you have to go a long ways if you want to get yard sales. And plus, they're a lot of fun, too. I like haggling with people. I like seeing the stuff they have. And I like getting really good deals on things I could use. Sometimes you get stuff that's not video game related that could actually be beneficial for your household. But we're talking about games, so we're not talking about that right now. Definitely have yourself a mode of transportation. Whether it be a bike, a bus, or a car, you definitely need some form of transportation for yard selling. And also figure out how far you're willing to go. Like I said, some places don't have that many yard sales and there's not many people there. While other towns down the road could have a lot more people at yard sales. So definitely scout these places. And also check out different locations. Sometimes richer neighborhoods might have more stuff like Xboxes and GameCubes, while poor neighborhoods might have like primitives and other things that you're not interested into. So definitely scout out the neighborhood as well, because the neighborhood could very well change the merchandise that is for sale at these yard sales. Bring cash. No one wants PayPal at a yard sale. Bring cash in all dollar amounts. Don't just bring 20s. Don't just bring 10s, and especially don't just bring 50s. You need all sorts of cash. You need like 5 5s, 5 10s, 5 20s. You don't really need to get into the 50s unless like you go to a yard sale and you see something for like $300, which it's a yard sale. No one wants to buy stuff for $300 at a yard sale. Definitely bring all sorts of cash. You probably need like 21s because you're going to find a bunch of stuff at yard sale. It's like, oh yeah, $3. So you need cash in all forms, at least up to 20. Maybe 50, but you don't really need 50s. So keep it below 20 and just have all sorts of bills available to you. Because no one's going to like it where you want to buy a $3 game or a $3 anything at a yard sale and you whip out a 50 and they don't have change. You're just going to make things awkward between both of you. And they're going to make them have to go find change, and they're not going to like that, and you're going to have to wait around, and that's taken away from your valuable yard selling time. So do yourself a favor and bring all sorts of cash. Remember the skills we talked about earlier in the video? Every single one of them is going to be tested here in yard sales. I'm not kidding. Every single one. You're going to have to be patient, because sometimes people might want to talk you up and stuff, and talk to you forever. And sometimes you might have to be patient because you won't find stuff. You're going to keep going to yard sale after yard sale after yard sale. You might be like, ugh, am I ever going to find anything? You got to be patient. And you're going to have knowledge of the market. You're not going to be able to just whip your phone out there in a yard sale, especially if people hover over you. They're not going to appreciate you looking up stuff. And on top of that, the more you're on your phone looking up stuff, that's the less time you're out there yard selling. So having at least a basic understanding of the market and a basic outline of some prices for some games will help you out immensely and save you a lot of time. You're going to have a lot of negotiation skills. You're going to have to use a lot of charm and a lot of tact. You're going to have to talk people up. You're going to have to negotiate with them. You're going to have to be able to discuss deals with them, try to talk them down. And that's going to require a lot of people skills. You're going to have to be able to communicate with them. You're going to have to be able to profile them. You're going to have to be able to understand what kind of person they are so you can better negotiate with them and talk to them and get good deals on those products you're wanting. So believe me when I say that all your skills are tested here. All of your skills are tested here. Like, you will be tested here big time. And this is where you have to shine in those skills I told you about. Because if you're lacking in any of them, you might be at a yard sale forever. You might not be able to negotiate a good price. Or you might just not be able to buy anything at all. You definitely need to be on top of those skills when you go yard selling. And like I said earlier, you need knowledge of the prices before you get there. That's going to help you the most. Like I said, you don't have to have everything memorized, but a good idea about what stuff goes for is going to help you out a lot. That way you're not always constantly on your phone because you're not always going to have that opportune moment to get on your phone. You might be able to slip it up like, oh yeah, I need to text someone or something like that, but there's going to be times you're not going to be able to get on your phone, so you really need to have knowledge there, especially when you get there and you pick up an item and you're like, wow, no one's going to like it when you're holding an item in one hand and a phone in the other and you're looking it up. So definitely have at least somewhat of a prior knowledge before you get there. Negotiations are face-to-face in a yard sale. It's not through a phone or messenger. You're really going to have to be on top of your profiling people and negotiations if you want to get good deals there. Because like I said, you're face-to-face. You're not going to have time to look at your phone and think up of something. You're going to have to be quick, on the fly, right then and there. When you're on your phone, someone sends you a message, you can read it, you can evaluate, you can analyze it, you can come up with the best response in your head not quickly, but you have all the time in the world to make the best response. At a yard sale, they say something, you gotta snap back basically instantly. You gotta be ready for that stuff. Negotiations at yard sales are vital to getting good deals, especially if you want to knock some money off some stuff too. And like I said, you gotta be really good at it, because they're going to come up and you say, oh yeah, you interested in that? And you're not going to be like, I don't know. You're going to be like, yeah or no, or maybe. Let me think about it for a sec. But either way, you don't have much time to think when it comes to negotiating at yard sales because you're face to face. So your negotiation skills better be top notch for this. Unless the price is already really good, always haggle at a yard sale. A lot of people price their stuff at yard sales higher anyway because people like to talk them down. I do it. So always haggle at a yard sale. It will save you some money. And on top of that, they're probably expecting it. It's a yard sale. People are going to haggle there. So always haggle at a yard sale. If they don't want to haggle, that's fine. Don't press them too much. You don't want to piss them off and make them not want to sell you something. So always haggle at a yard sale. And don't press too hard on these people. They most likely just pulled this stuff out of their closet and they're just trying to get rid of it. You don't need to be sitting there pressing them really hard about haggling down, talking them down. If they don't want to go down, They don't want to go down. You don't need to press them that much. You might be able to talk them down a bit if you wanted to buy 2 or 3 items. Like, yeah, if you'll sell me this for this price, I'll go ahead and buy this too. But at the end of the day, you do not want to press someone too hard, because then they're just not going to want you there. They're going to want you to just leave, and they're not going to give you any good deals. They're just going to sell you the stuff at the asking price. So don't push too hard at these yard sales. Push a little, but not hard. Do not whip your Gamebit out for every single purchase. If they have a copy of Conker's Bad Fur Day for $50, yeah, ask them to Gamebit it. Like, always take your Gamebit with you when you're yard selling, for one. And two, if it's a risky buy, then yeah, Gamebit. If they have a copy of Conker's Bad Fur Day for $10, take the risk. Just take the risk. The odds are it's real, for one, most likely. Most likely yard sale stuff is real. And two, on top of that, it's a $10 risk. If it's a fake copy of Conker's Bad Fur Day, you could still probably sell it on eBay for around $10. Or maybe even 20. Only Gamebit if it's a really risky buy. If they have a copy of Earthbound there and they want $100 for it, yeah, I'd ask to Gamebit it. But if they have a copy of Earthbound there and they only want like $10 for it or $20, take the risk. Because they're not really going to appreciate it if you're like, oh yeah, I'm big into this and I need to check it out. And they might not understand that. And they might think it's weird that you carry this screwdriver around and you're opening up their video games. And they might not like that. Especially if you say, well, nope, I don't want it after all. So save them some like paranoia and save yourself some time and take the risk if it's already a great price. If it's really risky, like, you know, $100 or something, yeah, definitely ask them to Gamebit. If they won't let you Gamebit, then just pass on it. This is completely debatable and it really changes from seller to seller, but you can ask them if they have some gaming stuff that they want to sell you. If you say video games or gaming, they might be like, oh no, but if you say keywords like Nintendo or PlayStation, that might ring some bells in their head. And like, oh yeah, my son used to have a PlayStation, or oh yeah, my son used to have a Nintendo. You might be able to get something off of them. Now, I'm not saying you need to ask every single yard seller you go to, but it doesn't hurt to ask. The most they can say is no. But keep in mind, there might be other people out there doing that like you, and they might get annoyed if you're the 5th person doing it. It is completely up to you and debatable if you want to do this. I personally have never had any luck doing this, but I actually have a friend who has had luck doing this. Personally, I have never had any good experience doing this, but I have had friends who have had good luck doing this. If you feel like this person might have something in their closet or something they missed, or maybe they might have some video games laying around that their son used to have or their daughter, then, you know, just ask them. Like I said, the most they can say is like, oh, nope, sorry, we don't have any. Here's one tactic I sometimes use. Sometimes I like to act like I don't know what I'm doing. Sometimes it's just easy enough to just like pick up a game like, oh yeah, I remember Zelda. I'll give you $5 for it. If it's like listed for $10 or something, because they probably don't know what it is. And if you say something like, oh yeah, I remember this from back in the day, then if they're not into games and stuff like that too, then they might give you a good deal on it just from the nostalgia standpoint. Now, I'm not saying to lie here. None of that which I just said was a lie. But I'm not saying to go in there and be like, oh yeah, I know all about video games. I am the best game collector out there. Believe me, I know games. I know the best games. And I'm definitely very interested in your Zelda, but I can only give you $5 for it. Why would you do that? Seriously, sometimes just acting like you're a little bit ignorant to the thing can actually help you a little bit, and it can save you some time, some problems, because if they kind of understand that you're into it, they might try to get more out of you for it. Sometimes it's best just go and be like, wow, I remember Zelda. That was a really fun game. Can I give you $5 for it? Sometimes that will actually net you better profits than if you go in there like, oh yeah, I know about the games. Now I want to tell you guys some places that I personally think you should stay away from. And one of those places being Craigslist. No one uses Craigslist anymore. No one. I don't think I've ever bought a single video game off Craigslist, and I don't think I've ever had any success selling a video game on Craigslist. No one uses Craigslist for video games. Yeah, there's a video game category on there, but I have never had any luck for it. And usually it's nothing too great on there, and the prices are awful. And also Craigslist is kind of a weird place. The only thing I'd ever recommend to use Craigslist for is vehicles, and even then that can be sometimes a little iffy. Me personally, I would avoid Craigslist. Another 2 things you should avoid is Goodwill and the Salvation Army. Goodwill is really bad about sending their stuff to like corporate warehouses, and then they sell it on their basically Goodwill eBay, and their prices on there are not good. Their shipping is abysmal, and on top of that, their descriptions and pictures are usually pretty vague. Goodwill is really not a good place to buy anything of value. The best thing to get at Goodwill is clothes, and that's about it. I've even overheard employees being like, don't put that out, that's worth too much. Send that to the warehouse. Because then at the warehouse, they'll sell it online, or they'll take it to a bigger Goodwill with more people, and they'll try to sell it for more there. So always avoid Goodwill. And Salvation Army, I've just never had any luck there. Plus, I don't really have any near me, so I've only been to one like once or twice. I never had any luck there. If you've had luck there, let me know down below, and I'll change my mind on that, maybe. But I've never had any luck at a Salvation Army, so I can't help you there. However, sometimes Goodwill outlets are debatable. You've probably seen big YouTubers. They go out to these Goodwill outlets. They bring these bins out. You just like sort through what's basically garbage with a pair of gloves on, and you might find stuff. There's none near me. My nearest one's 3 hours away, so I've only ever been to one, and I only got a case and manual for Mario Kart Double Dash for $1. That's all I've ever gotten from a Goodwill outlet. Are they good? I don't know. You can watch other people's videos on that, but me personally, I have never had any luck there, and I think they're really debatable. I've seen people get some really good stuff there, but I've also seen people get junk there. That's up to you, but I recommend staying away from Goodwill outlets personally. And I think one of the last things you should probably stay away from, this isn't a store, but you should probably stay away from some of the big YouTubers. Not all of them. Some of them are really good, and that's up to you to decide who you want to watch. Don't let me tell you who to watch, and I'm not going to tell you who to watch. I'm not here to preach, and I'm not here to tell you, oh, watch this guy over that guy. That's entirely up to you. Some big YouTubers, I personally don't like them. I sometimes feel like they just buy a bunch of niche games, brag about it on their 1.5 million subscriber YouTube channel, see the price go up, and then sell it. And a lot of these collectors don't tell you a lot of things or don't show you a lot of things. They're just like, yep, here's my collection. Wow, look at this. I got a copy of Rule Rose for $20 at a Goodwill outlet. Are you sure about that? Like, I don't disbelieve it, but sometimes I don't believe it either. But that's up to you. I'm not going to tell you who to watch and who not to watch. Like I said, watch out for some of them, because some of them are pretty sketchy and don't really give you that good advice and don't tell you many things you need to know. And with that, we have finally made it to the end. And I just thought I'd give you some of my opinions and closing thoughts. I personally get some of my best deals on Facebook Marketplace, yard sales, and eBay. Gamestop has gotten me some good deals before, not end-all be-all, and I've gotten some really good deals at some local game stores. I definitely recommend that you avoid the Facebook groups. They're really not that great in my opinion. And I hope you did learn something from this. I really would appreciate if you left a like and subscription down below. I spent a lot of time making this video, and I really hope it helped a lot of you guys out. I know not many people really put out many good buying guides for collections. And all you guys like these little like crappy 5 or 10 minute top 10 tips and tricks videos. And none of them go into like the big details and all the things you really need to know. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. I tried to make this list very broad. If there's anything you need any questions with, please leave a comment down below. I'll try to get back with you. I'll try to help you out as much as I can. If you have any recommendations, let me know down below. Maybe I missed something that helps you out a lot. But I hope if you're new to collecting video games that this video did help you out a lot. And I really did hope you learned something from this. Maybe gives you ideas of what to do and what not to do, or just maybe you didn't know where to start and now you know what to do. But anyway, that's it for me today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this one. Like I said, it did take a lot of time for me to make, and I've been working really hard on it. So I really would appreciate some sort of support. If you really like this, share it with your friends, especially if they're into collecting or they want to get into collecting. I tried to make this as broad as I can to like cover all the bases, so hopefully it's very helpful. But that's basically it for me. So if you liked it, please click a like down below. If you disliked it, please hit the dislike. And if you have anything you want to tell me, please leave a comment. I'm open for discussions. Well, anyway, see you in the next one, guys. Bye.